Good afternoon, Paranerds. I hope your day is going absolutely fantastic, and I welcome you back to the 31 Days of Halloween. Yes, we are continuing the 31 Days of Halloween, where I bring you 31 of my favorite horror movies, and we have a great one for you today, because today we are talking about a legendary filmmaker and a legendary movie. Today we are talking about... That's right, Pumpkinhead. Probably number 3 in my top 10 favorite horror movies. And we'll get into why. But first, let's talk about what is Pumpkinhead. So, Pumpkinhead is about Ed Harley, who lives with his young son in the country where they live a simple life. They run a small store. Some city teens stop by at the store and get on their bikes for some fun. While all this is happening, Ed leaves his son to look after the shop as he delivers an item to the customer. When Ed arrives back, he finds out his boy has been accidentally killed by one of the careless riders because the dog took off. Their dog took off, and the young boy ran after the dog, and the teens were drunk on their motorcycles, and the kid is run over. In a fit of rage and anger, he seeks out the old woman, the witch of the town, who can summon up a demon which shall exact revenge on those involved in the death of his son. However, Ed starts to realize it was a horrible idea, and he eventually finds out that conjuring up this demon comes at a price. Pumpkinhead. Let's do some fun facts, and then I'll start talking about this movie. Because, yeah, Pumpkinhead is a blast. The dog actor, Mushroom, who played Ed Harley's dog, Gypsy, he played Barney in Gremlins. That's right. Barney in Gremlins, directed by Joe Dante. Fantastic movie. We're not going to see it in the 31 Days of Halloween because it is a Christmas movie, and that's going to have its own section in December. So, the dog, Mushroom, I played Ed Harley's dog, played Barney in Gremlins. That's some cool stuff right there. I love dog actors. Dogs are awesome. I love all fur babies out there. Dogs, cats, everything. Lance Henriksen had his set of dentures made to give him a more rural look. He also gathered all of his own props and wardrobe, including a World War II pump action shotgun, his cap he wears throughout the film, and the silver dollars which he gives to Haggis, the Witch of the Woods, that summons Pumpkinhead. Matter of fact, speaking of those silver dollars, Lance Henriksen gathered all the silver dollars himself by visiting several pawn shops. He said most of them fell through the floorboards of Haggis' shack on the property, which, shit, they could still be there. This was the directorial debut of legendary special effects artist Stan Winston. And he does an amazing job. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. Sorry, my throat is dry. The one scene that made Lance Henriksen most want to take this role was where his deceased son Billy sits up and asks his father, "What have you done?" Such a great, disturbing scene. And I get it. I get it, Lance. If I read that in a script, sign me up. Stan Winston. Fun was, in fact, the prevalent mood on the Pumpkinhead set. Despite many additional burdens and responsibilities, Winston brought the same sense of humor and a lighthearted spirit to directing Pumpkinhead as he had to his creature effects assignment. Alex Gillis said Stan was a blast as a director. He was fun and completely relaxed on the set, as if he didn't have a care in the world. His first directorial debut, and his focus was on making sure the cast and crew had a blast on this film. God bless you, Stan. You were fucking awesome. May you rest in peace, sir. Uh, Alex goes on to say, I remember one day when we were in the cramped cabin set, and I was very tense and tired because Shane and I had just spent 3 hours applying makeup on the actress playing the witch. But then I looked over and I saw Stan across the room staring at me with his glasses cocked at a weird angle on his head, just to make me laugh. There was my director making an idiot of himself for nobody's benefit but mine, which isn't something most directors would do. God fucking bless you, Stan Winston. Like, for your directorial debut, not only did you make an amazing film, but made sure the cast and crew had a blast, and anytime there was something going on, you went out of your way. That's how directors should be. If I was a director, that's how I would be. Excuse me. From the sculpture, studio artists and mechanics created a suit and head, which was worn on the set by Pumpkinhead performer Tom Woodruff Jr. To avoid wear and tear on the suit, Woodruff was glued into it at the start of the shoot day and remained in the foam rubber construct for up to 8 hours at a time. God bless you, Tom Woodruff Jr. That had to be hell, but you were professional, and it shows in your performance of Pumpkinhead. Thank you so much. While Winston refined the narrative, artists at his studio, led by Alex Gillis, Shane Mahan, I'm probably butchering all these names, I apologize, John Rosengrant, and Tom Woodruff Jr. designed Pumpkinhead as a humanoid demon with a very large angular head, withered facial features, and long clawed fingers. Since Stan was directing the movie, said Gillis, he turned the creature work over to us. Stan said, I'm the director on this, I'm the client, you guys are the effects guys. It was great to have Stan's encouragement to just go with it on our own. We sat down and started drawing, and then we presented those drawings to Stan. He made suggestions, and that's how the character of Pumpkinhead developed. Then I sculpted the head, and Tom and John sculpted the body. And oh my God, Pumpkinhead was fantastic. Stan Winston is a legend. A fucking legend in effects work. For him to decide to go out and make a movie on his own and trust his crew to deliver a creature that is not only terrifying but looks as good as it does, they did a phenomenal job on Pumpkinhead. This movie is absolutely worth a watch. Lance Henriksen, phenomenal actor, does a ton of horror movies. I got to meet Lance Henriksen. I had told him how this film was one of my top 10 favorite movies. He told me this movie was so much fun to make. He said everyone got along. They had a blast while filming. He loved the character of Ed Harley so much. He came back for parts 3 and 4. It was in a less substantial role, but it was still as Ed Harley. But you definitely feel his presence throughout the films. How awesome is that? He loved that character so much to come back, and I think they were lower budget sci-fi movies. They were still good. They're not as good as the original. I'll give you that. The original Pumpkinhead is awesome. The first two, Pumpkinhead and Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Angels, are great. Pumpkinhead is obviously my favorite. Lance Henriksen is awesome. The practical effects are awesome. Stan Winston directing this talented cast, blending a great storyline and awesome special effects. He did an amazing job. Stan Winston, I thank you for creating this piece of film history. May you rest in peace, sir. You did a phenomenal job with this movie. To go out of your way to make sure the cast and crew we're having fun, that there wasn't any tense and down moments. Amazing. Scream Factory. Yes, Scream Factory. Came out with a Pumpkinhead Blu-ray, and they are releasing a Steelbook Pumpkinhead Blu-ray, but you bet your fucking ass I'll be buying. Listen to these special features on this. Look at this, number one, look at this cover. Look at Pumpkinhead. You got Lance over here, Pumpkinhead. Look at that creature effect. How amazing is that? I cannot stress this enough. Watch this movie. It's so much fun. It's not a horror comedy. It's a horror movie, and it is a horror movie. It's scary. It's brilliant. Easily in my top 10. Check out some of these Blu-ray special features from Scream Factory. A tribute to Stan Winston featuring Lance Henriksen and Brian Beamer. Special effects artist Alex Gillis, Tom Woodruff Jr., Shannon Shea, and a lot more. New interviews with producer Richard Wyman and actor John Giacchino. Audio commentary by co-screenwriter Gary Girani and creature and effects artists and creators Tom Woodruff Jr. and Alex Gillis. I cannot wait to listen to that commentary. I really hope there's a lot of anecdotes about Stan. Stan was a great person. I never got to meet him, but I'm a huge fan of Stan Winston. I'm going to be doing going to be doing a YouTube video all about Stan Winston and his creature effects. And I hope you'll enjoy it because he deserves the recognition. A few more Blu-ray special features. 6 featurettes. Yes, 6 documentaries on this movie. Evolution of a Demon, The Cursed and the Damned, The Tortured Soul of Ed Harley, Constructing Vengeance, Razorback Holler, and Demonic Toys. So much more on this Blu-ray. It's in a protective covering because number one, that's how I bought it. Number two, I want to keep it in this protective covering because I fucking love this movie so much. It's one of the very first horror movies I have a memory of. I used to, when I was a child, I would lay down with my mom and we'd watch movies like on Saturdays. And I just remember seeing the Pumpkinhead creature. And he's not Pumpkinhead. He's not called Pumpkinhead because he's got like a pumpkin head, like pumpkin thing. It's because he's raised out of a pumpkin patch. And I remember that creature that stuck into my brain. I was taking a nap. I just remember looking up and seeing that creature. And I was probably a young child, and super young. And I fell back asleep. But that image stuck in my head for so long. And I remember perusing the horror VHSs back when, we used to have movie stores and stuff. And I saw the VHS and I saw this creature and I said, why does that look so familiar? So I rented it and it was this movie and I loved this movie. It affected me for so long because this movie introduced me when I was a young child to practical effects. And now I'm trying to find all these great practical effects horror movies because of this movie. Because of people like Stan Winston and Tom Woodruff Jr. and Alex Gillis. Because of people like K&B, Robert Kurtzman, Greg Nicotero, and Howard Berger. Because of people like that is why I love horror. This film will always have a special place in my heart. I give this film 4.5 pumpkins out of 5. I highly, highly, highly recommend you find the Shout Factory Scream Factory Blu-ray. Get the Steelbook edition that is coming out very soon. I will put Shout Factory's link in the description. Check them out. Highly recommend them. I highly recommend this movie. I cannot say more than enough. This movie easily in my top 10. I wouldn't be such a horror fan if it wasn't for this film. If it wasn't for Lance Henriksen and Stan Winston. I thank you so much for watching this. Your continued support and your continued views on these mean the world to me. I'm going to say it again. Give these films a chance. Don't let them die. Let them live. Let people like Stan Winston's legacy live on forever. Do not let them be forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, remember, we live in a weird world. So go out and experience it. I hope your day continues to be fantastic. I love you all. Have a good one.